Hi, my name is Bill Stapleton. I'm the Deputy Principal at Seaview High School, and this is our presentation to parents on social media and keeping your child safe online. In this short video, we're going to be covering current trends online for teens, dangers of the popular current social media sites, YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, and Instagram, which were the 4 highest rating ones in 2022 for teenagers, sexting, online addictions such as Netflix and gaming, the benefits of social media for teenagers, tips for keeping your child safe online, and then some recommended resources that the school has developed as well. So some current trends from 2022. The average teen uses 4 different social media services on a daily basis. So YouTube at 95%, TikTok 67%, Instagram 62%, and Snapchat 59%. YouTube is by far the most widely used platform by teenagers. You can see almost 95% of the teenagers surveyed used that as their primary social media platform. TikTok is also one of the most fastest growing apps ever. TikTok was the most downloaded app of any app in 2022. Research on this next area always varies depending upon where you survey, but on average around about 23 hours of screen time a week is spent by teenagers outside of school hours, which is quite considerable. Obviously, you know, they're clocking about 10, maybe 11 hours a day sometimes on the weekends, which can obviously make that quite significantly higher. Some Australian data that I found is over 50% of those aged 14 to 17 had a negative experience online between April and September in 2020. Unfortunately, this is the most recent data I could find about online experiences for Australian teenagers. There should be a new survey and research being done soon, in which case I will update this presentation. But of those 50% who had a negative, over 50% who had a negative experience, 30% were contacted by a stranger or a person unknown to them, which not surprisingly is high for girls. 20% received unwanted content such as pornography or violent material. 16% were deliberately excluded from school events, online events, social events, or online forums. 15% received online threats or abuse. This was higher for males, and that usually linked to online gaming. And 15% had things said about them online that damaged their reputation. Perhaps more concerning, though, is some of this data. When a teen did experience a negative online experience, remember over half of them did experience one, only 54% unblocked the account or person. So they are not cutting off the link they have to this person who gave them this negative experience. Only 43% spoke to family or friends, but perhaps the most concerning is that only 40% reported it to an online authority. So the chances are that your son or daughter has already experienced a online bullying or negative experience online, and they have not spoken to you about it or even told anyone else about it. So my first bit of advice I'm going to say to you is, as I go through these dangers that social media accounts can pose, don't freak out. Okay, there's going to be some alarming information. I'm just trying to empower you by giving you some of the real dangers around these. But I just want to reinforce that I will be going through some of the benefits of social media for teenagers as well. But I do want to go through some of the real dangers that some of them pose. So I'm going to start with the most commonly used platform by teenagers, and that is YouTube. If you don't know what YouTube is, it's an online video sharing and social media platform owned by Google. Around the world, its users watch more than 1 billion hours of YouTube videos every day. YouTube creators, who are commonly referred to as YouTubers, upload over 400 hours of content per minute. So you can imagine that is a huge amount of video content going up. It's really hard for YouTube and their moderators to be able to review all of that footage before it goes up online. Some of the dangers. With so many videos uploaded so quickly, it can be tough for YouTube to always filter out the bad ones before they make it online, or remove violent or hateful comments. And quite often, things are hidden in the middle of videos which seem innocent, or they can be in the comments as well. So this is just one trend back from 2019, children targeted by terrifying viral Momo images in Peppa Pig and Fortnite videos, which basically showed this half woman, half chicken sort of thing here, which would just pop up in the middle of it, and obviously causing lots of nightmares and traumatic experiences for younger children. And there was another one in this Momo clip which showed a warped white mask, which was promoting children to do dangerous tasks without telling their parents. Some of them that was noticed in schools include asking children to turn the gas on or to find and take tablets, which is obviously quite dangerous. YouTube video algorithms can also take kids to dark places very quickly. If you don't know how YouTube works, when you watch a video, it basically takes that as you liking that video, particularly if you put a like on it as well, and it starts to recommend other videos that of a similar genre or category. Now that can unfortunately escalate quite quickly, and within like 5 or 6 videos that can be in places that are very inappropriate for them. Some YouTubers also market unhealthy items or products in their videos. A lot of them these days are all sponsored, and so that can be quite detrimental because young people don't have the ability to discern what's good and what's not good for them at the moment, and not all content is as it seems. So this one here, we've got YouTube star Logan Paul. He apologizes for a video of a parent suicide victim amid severe backlash. He recorded a video of himself in Japan's suicide forest, and in the video he showed a body of someone who was hanging from a tree. He told his viewers that he and his crew come to the forest to focus on the haunted aspect, but he's seen laughing in the clip. Later said that was a way of coping with the incident, but it was viewed millions of times before it was taken down. And one of the dangers of videos, as soon as they go up on the internet, they can be cross-pollinated to other platforms, and it's really hard to get rid of a video like that. YouTube is also a time vortex. It's the #1 reason why teenagers procrastinate doing homework or do not get enough sleep. So this was an article by a man who was actually in his 20s who wrote this, and he said YouTube addiction, binge watching videos became my drug of choice. He recalls how the site's recommendation engine, those algorithms, left him entranced by thoroughly useless information. What he said was, strangely, when I was acting out with YouTube, I couldn't watch anything I enjoyed. I couldn't sit down and watch an hour-long documentary about winemaking or the pyramids of Giza. That was the truly pathological nature of it. I had to watch short clips back to back to back to back about absolutely nothing. Almost everything I watched in the grips of my YouTube habit didn't improve my life in any way. And this will be, for teenagers, quite a serious problem sometimes. They might finish their work or go to bed, and they'll think, oh, I'll just watch a short clip on YouTube. And what happens is YouTube just then plays the next video afterwards. They're often quite short. They're all linked to something that they're interested in. And before they know it, they've spent an hour and a half just watching mindless videos on YouTube that, again, do not add to them in any way, but all they are doing is depriving them of sleep. When they eventually turn YouTube off, obviously the research shows that blue screen light has a big impact on sleep patterns, and so they then struggle to get to sleep afterwards, and that can be up to 2 to 3 hours after going to bed when they actually fall asleep, which can have very negative effects on them and their concentration and focus for the next day and their brain development. TikTok is a social media platform for creating, sharing, discovering short videos. The app is used by young people as an outlet to express themselves through singing, dancing, comedy, and lip syncing, and allows users to create videos and share them across the community. If you have a daughter, more than likely you've seen her and her friends doing a TikTok dance. You can pick it out quite easily. They'll be standing somewhere, normally with a phone pointed at them, and they'll just be doing a bunch of synchronized moves. It's become a wildly popular platform to just share videos of yourself, often copying or mimicking other people who are doing videos as well. And it can be a really, really good outlet for a young person to express themselves. However, there are some dangers associated with TikTok. It does not have age verification tools. Accounts are restricted for those under 16 years of age, but if your child says they are older by just changing the date of their birth, they can access a whole range of inappropriate material, and their account may be public by default without them knowing. Videos can be commented on TikTok, which opens up to a lot of online bullying and trolling by other people. And it can collect user data, including copied passwords, etc. I do believe that this may have been fixed by now, but even when the app is not being used, it did copy passwords. If you have an iPhone that updates to any Apple device that updates to iOS 15, 14 or 15 or higher, you'll be protected from that, and I do believe it may be fixed for Android now, but I cannot verify that, sorry. But the real dangers that come from TikTok are from the challenges. These are just some of the challenges. You can see I've got some of the news headlines you can see there. This is recent from 2021. The Dragon Breath Challenge was a challenge that involved people drinking liquid nitrogen. Now, liquid nitrogen is an incredibly cold. Liquid nitrogen is obviously a gas at room temperature. Nitrogen is, so liquid nitrogen is exceptionally cold, and there was a lot of people getting lots of gastrointestinal burns or dangers. Some people did actually die from drinking liquid nitrogen as well. It's clearly not something that is meant to be drunk. It's used to snap freeze vegetables. So it's quite dangerous. The Kia challenge was a challenge where a video was posted of a person allegedly starting a Kia car with a USB. So they inserted the USB into the slot where the key normally goes, and the car started. Now, this led to a lot of people trying to replicate or copy this video. The problem is a lot of people don't own Kias, so if they didn't own a Kia, they ended up stealing cars, breaking into cars, doing this. Unfortunately, there are some examples of people who died from this challenge because it short-circuited the car, it started fires, lots and lots of issues. The penny challenge is involving taking a charger port for a phone or similar that plugs into the wall, putting a penny or a coin across the contact points of that, and then plugging it into the wall to make it spark. Again, obviously this caused lots of fires and issues as well, and it was quite a viral challenge back a couple of years ago. The blackout challenge involves, unfortunately, people choking themselves until they black out. And unfortunately, there were some people who have died from this, because obviously when you block oxygen supply to the brain, it can be very detrimental, and unfortunately some people took it too far and they did die. The suicide challenge was another challenge which was unfortunately something that a lot of people tried to copy, and you can see some of the headlines here of some of the people who have died from that. A 19-year-old man in Pakistan who tried to fake his own death with a pistol, tried to make it look realistic, and unfortunately ended up shooting himself in the head and killing himself on the video. The silhouette challenge is another one which is primarily aimed at young girls or young women, and the whole idea, premise of the silhouette challenge is that you dance naked or in your underwear, and the filter in the TikTok video blacks it out so you are just a silhouette. However, unfortunately, with any sort of technology, as you can see from the headline here, there are people who are developing software to be able to remove the filters, which obviously then shows the person either in their underwear or completely naked. So these challenges on TikTok can be quite harmful and detrimental to young people in particular if they're not wise enough yet to work out what's a good challenge and what's not a good challenge. Snapchat is a popular messaging app that lets users exchange pictures and videos, often called snaps, that are meant to disappear after they're viewed. It's advertised as a new type of camera because the essential function is to take a picture or video, add filters, lenses or other effects, and share them with friends. So again, what was initially I think started out as just something to help connection between young people is something that can be quite helpful, but it has quite a few dangers. I'm going to talk about two main dangers. The first one of Snapchat is the fact that messages disappear, usually 10 seconds after being sent. So this is set up by the person who sends the Snapchat, how long their message is there for. But obviously the major issue that we have at school is that it proves online bullying very, very hard. If there's no evidence of the conversation ever occurring, it makes it very, very hard for us as the school to be able to deal with it and be able to run a restorative session with the people. Teens mistakenly think it also is a safe way to sext. Now I'm going to talk about sexting a little bit later. But however, if the other person uses third-party software, then photos which are sent, which the person thinks disappear after 10 seconds and can't be retrieved, they are actually saved without the person knowing. Obviously, as well, the person who they send the picture to can take a screenshot of the picture. Now, you get alerted when someone takes a picture of the snap that you've sent, but again, once they've sent it, they have no control over it, how it's shared. And drug deals are often coordinated using Snapchat as well, which is quite concerning. Because the messages disappear, obviously makes it quite hard to track. So this is the headline from 2021. Snapchat has become an on-demand delivery app for teens to score illegal drugs. Some kids are even dying after taking one pill. Now, the reason that it's so popular for drug deals and illicit drug use, and particularly for 2022 vaping and selling of illegal vapes, is this function that the message disappear, but also the fact that there is this function associated with it called SnapMap. And SnapMap uses mobile phone technology to find out where its users are and then draws them on a map in real time. So it's a location setting. You can browse the map to see where your friends are, anyone that you are linked with on Snapchat. Now, obviously, that's an issue because if your location is being publicized, if you have been chatting online with someone who is catfishing you, so someone who is not who they say they are, that can lead to real issues. There are other issues as well. Here was another headline I found of a guy tracks down his girlfriend via Snapchat Snap and stabs the man she's with. Now, there was even no reference as to whether she was cheating on him or whatever, but obviously it left her quite vulnerable to someone who perhaps was struggling with some mental health issues. Instagram. Instagram is a photo sharing app which allows users to assign filters to photos and share them with followers. Instagram is different from Snapchat. It doesn't pose some of the same physical dangers, but Instagram, on the other hand, creates a very unrealistic view of the world and other people. Studies say Instagram is ranked the worst social app for causing young people to feel depressed. And the real reason for that is that it makes people look a lot different. So influencers, who quite often use Instagram as their main platform for sharing, it's not what they look like. They use a lot of filters, they Photoshop things, and they market products and look completely unrealistic. Unfortunately, young people don't always necessarily understand or realize that. And so one of the issues they have is that they compare themselves to these celebrities and their lifestyles, which causes massive issues with self-esteem, body image, depression, and even suicidal thoughts. Another headline here, Instagram is the worst social media account for mental health. Now, Instagram is designed for people to be able to connect, who have similar likes and dislikes and get support. So there is some examples of fantastic Instagram social media accounts where people can get support. But unfortunately, there are also cases where Instagram has been quite detrimental. And this is a very sad story of Molly from the UK, whose dad had this article, and he talked about the fact that she was having some suicidal thoughts and was trying to connect on Instagram to get some support, but instead found some groups of people who were actually encouraging self-harm and linking self-harm to suicide. And unfortunately, it got to the point where Molly took her own life as well. And unfortunately, her dad did not know about this till it was too late. So those are the dangers of the four big platforms, I call them, of what a lot of teenagers currently use. So I'm going to go through a couple more things to talk about before I get through, hopefully, to some of the good stuff. So please stick with me, because I know this can be a little bit depressing and alarming, and I'm going to keep going through a little bit more. But as I said, there are some real benefits, so please stick with me, and then I'm going to give you some advice and help. So sexting I also want to talk about, because this is quite a big issue for young people as well. Sexting is the action or practice of sending sexually explicit photographs or messages via mobile devices. Sexting involves sending suggestive or sexual images through mobile phones that can then be posted on the internet or forwarded to other people, and that's from the Australian government from 2009. So I want to start by firstly talking about a fantastic app which I highly recommend, which is called Out of Bounds. This app, Out of Bounds, is made by the Law Society of South Australia, so it is linked specifically to South Australian law. If you want to download the app, this is what it looks like, at least at the time of recording this. I hope they haven't changed it, but if you just search for Out of Bounds, it is available on both the Apple Store and the Google Play Store. It's a fantastic app which has a lot of information about sexting, but it also has scenarios and gives you options to sit down and talk with your young person. Go through some scenarios like, is this sexting? Is it not? Is it legal? Is it not? And so it's a really fantastic app which I recommend. If there's one thing maybe you take out of tonight, out of this presentation, is just to have a look at this app and go through it with your young person. But to give a brief summary of sexting in the law, under the Criminal Code Act 1995, it's an offence to use phone or internet services to access, send, publish or solicit, which is ask others to provide you with, material that is child pornography. Child pornography includes an image of someone or a description of someone who is or appears to be under 18 years old, engaged in or appears to be engaged in sexual activity, in a sexual pose, or is in the presence of a person engaging in sexual pose or activity. Or it depicts for a sexual purpose or describes the sexual organs or anal region of female breasts of a person who appears to be or is implied to be under 18 years old. So it does not have to be just an image, it can also be text. So sexually explicit texting is also classified as child pornography as well if it is about someone who is under 18 years of age. And so that's something that a lot of our students sometimes don't understand. And we have SAPOR come to the school quite regularly to talk through our young people, but this is a message which they need to very clearly understand. And that's again why I said that Out of Bounds app is really important. Some current statistics about sexting. In a survey of over 2,000 young people aged 13 to 18, almost half reported having sent a sexual picture, while 2/3 had received a sexual image. So obviously there are some people who send multiple images to various people, and so it's much higher. So statistically, it's more than likely that your son or daughter has already received a sexual image. Sexting was prevalent amongst all age groups, with 13 to 15-year-olds particularly likely to receive sexual images. Not send them, but receive them. So it could be from people who are older as well. There is some research now that's saying that the average age that a person is exposed to a sexualized image is around 8.5 to 9 years old, which is quite alarming. WhatsApp and Snapchat are the platforms most commonly used for sexting, and obviously Snapchat for its ability for the messages to disappear. WhatsApp is also, that's this logo for WhatsApp down here, is another just instant messaging app, which is quite commonly used for texting amongst young people as well, but it's probably not as commonly used as Snapchat. And the other most alarming feature is that revenge porn is on the rise. So revenge porn is where two people have been going out. They share sexually explicit material or content with each other. When they break up, normally one person or one party is unhappy with that breakup, and so as a way of getting revenge, they share those sexually explicit images. So in the moment in the relationship, they thought it was safe to send the images, but once they break up, those become quite free range for them to share with other people. In 2020 alone, 670 reports were filed by people aged 13 to 24 in the first 3 months, and that was actually an increase from 270 back in 2021, so quite a significant increase. And these are Australian statistics as well, I should add. How can you support your teen with sexting? Talk to them about it. 100% you need to actually talk to them about it. You can't wait until something goes wrong. Use current news stories. I've got some headlines here of just unfortunately about instances that do happen here in Adelaide high schools. So use some of these headlines or look for some other current ones. Let them talk to you about, like, how they feel if that was their school. Talk to them and let them know that flirting is natural, but they need to protect themselves. And within a healthy adult relationship, there can be a place for that sort of sexting over a device. But again, they need to really be protective of themselves, and particularly if that relationship breaks down, how do they have any control over what they've sent or shared? And a really powerful thing you can also do is share how having a nude picture of you floating around the internet would impact on you. Talk to them about how it would impact on your work, your interactions with your co-workers, and just your general lifestyle if nude photos of you were to come out publicly on the internet. That can be really powerful and help them to, I guess, kind of understand and think ahead, because we know that teenagers can't necessarily think forward and think of consequences before their actions. So that can be quite useful. Netflix addiction. Binge watching is a new drug of choice. Dr. Renee Carr talks about binge watching your favorite show. Gives you a pseudo addiction to the show because you develop cravings for dopamine. So similar to anything that gives you pleasure, like taking a drug or doing a sport or running or things like that, you get a pleasurable feeling and you keep watching and watching and watching and watching. So Netflix can be, again, probably for our older students in years 11 and 12, they can get caught up in the time warp of just watching shows that loop over and over on Netflix. Online gaming addiction is also on the rise. Games are often violent and bring out the worst in teenagers. This used to be primarily something that would affect males, but females now are on the increase in terms of gaming, and female gamers are becoming quite popular as well. So it's not just something that you have to worry about if you have a young male. Some information here. It's like having a child addicted to drugs. Doctors warn that Fortnite has caused children to smash up cars, stop eating, and push parents to divorce as well. So it can be quite detrimental. Interestingly, some research has shown that games like the Lego games, so Lego Star Wars, Lego Jurassic Park, Lego Marvel, all that sort of, those sorts of games which help children to actually problem solve, help to actually increase the grey matter in their brains, whereas those who don't use those games and just rely on first-person shooters, that can actually have detrimental impacts on the grey matter in their brain. And Reddit is the final one I'm going to talk about. Reddit is an American social news aggregation, web content rating, and discussion website. Registered members submit content to the site, such as links, text, posts, images, and videos, which are then voted up or down by other members. The dangers of Reddit is that it's designed for adults. The official age requirement is 13, but there is no age verification system, or at least not a really efficient one. Again, you can get around it very, very easily. And you do not need an account to access content unless you're on a mobile phone. If you're on a mobile phone, you can only view a small content of the posts before you are asked to download and install the app and sign up with an account. But if you are looking at Reddit on a web browser, on say perhaps a PC or even an iPad, you do not need to log in with an account to be able to access the content. Users can post anything they want, and it relies on the admin of each subgroup or Reddit, which is just regular people, to monitor and delete what they deem inappropriate. So it's purely subjective. There's a lot of trolling and harassment and inappropriate content that can go up there that doesn't get removed. And it says approximately 25% of Reddit is dedicated to pornography. I would not be surprised if that is higher. And again, that is very easy to access. So now that I've gone through all of that, I want to talk to you about the benefits of social media. So before you lock your kids in their room with no internet or mobile devices, and you don't let them come out till they're 25 years old, please remember that there are benefits. It is not all doom and gloom. Okay? 4 out of 5 teens say that and again, this is Australian statistics, 4 out of 5 teens say that social media helps them feel more connected with people and the world around them. 7 out of 10 say that social media helps them feel as if they have people who would support them in a tough time. 7 out of 10 say that social media has helped them interact with a broader and more diverse group of people and opinions than without it. I remember when I was at school, it was before the internet. Obviously, my circle of friends and my world was basically those people at school and perhaps the people I was involved in a sporting club with. Now, young people can connect with people overseas in various countries, lots of different cultures, and it has opened up a much broader experience for them. And one of the really positive things is that 9 out of 10 teens actually want to build positive relationships online. There's not many of them who go on there deliberately wanting to cut down and hurt other people. And when they do experience a negative interaction online, I remember over 50% of them said they did, it's caused 86% of those affected to post something nice or positive about someone else. So they have been able to reflect on how it made them feel and actually want to make a difference, which I think is very, very encouraging. Positive social media use can also help them develop better social skills. Right? They might struggle talking face-to-face, but they can develop those communication skills through communicating online. It helps them to develop creativity in teenagers, encourage them to share their ideas, and that's where TikTok is quite a useful platform for that. They can be quite ingenious and creative. It can inform them of current world events, so they can find out information, and that could be a good or a bad thing, depending upon what current events you're thinking about, but it helps them to become more global-minded. It gives them an outlet for their opinions and beliefs. Young people often feel like they don't have a voice and no one listens to them, so social media gives them that platform. And it strengthens their bond between friends and lets them have fun. They can just de-stress, relax, goof off on social media with their friends, which is quite positive for them. So the question is, given that there are benefits to social media, yet there are so many dangers out there, how do you keep your kids safe online? Well, the first thing I want to encourage is you cannot be like the man in this picture. You cannot stick your head in the sand. All right? You need to be realistic. It's not a case of if things go wrong. It'll be a case of when things go wrong. All right? At some point in their teenage years, your son or daughter is going to have a negative experience online. And you need to be prepared for when that happens and how to support them. It's not all doom and gloom. You've got to remember, the fact that you are watching this right now, that you've stuck with me through 28 minutes of this, and that you are worried about being a good parent means that you already are. You're already concerned about what they're looking at online, how you protect them. So I encourage you that you are doing the right thing. So the first tip I have for you is be informed. Keep yourself up to date with current trends. If you're a Seaview parent, you get free access to National Online Safety, which is a fantastic company that we have joined with, based in the UK. And that company has loads of resources to help you out about finding about different social media, how to keep your kids safe online. If you want some more information about that, please contact us at the school on 83778000. More than happy to help you out with that. You can check our school website as well, Seaview. cvuhs.sa.edu.au, and we'll have some more information about how you can access that free resource. And what I've said here is very critical, is that knowledge is power. Okay, keep yourself informed, sign up for their weekly newsletters, get information about what you can do to help support your young person. Second tip is model the behavior that you want them to see. So do a bit of a self-check on your own social media use and device usage. It's vitally important there is not one set of rules for you and one for them, because young people are very much about justice, and if they feel that there is an injustice in their household, they are far more likely to not want to abide by your rules. So think about your own screen time usage, perhaps putting the phones away at dinner time or when you're hanging out with the family. Have your own social media accounts, absolutely, but think about how you use them and what you post on them and how you deal with negative online interactions as well. Have regular conversations with your child about social media. Find out what social media they are using. If they are only using TikTok and YouTube, for example, then just focus on them. You don't need to educate yourself on some of the other ones yet, but keep updated regularly about what they're using. Talk to them about how they know what is safe and not safe online. Ask them if they've had a SAPOL presentation at school. Ask them what was covered there, if they have any questions about it. Let them know that they can always tell you when things go wrong. And when things go wrong, don't get angry. And I'll talk about that in one of the final tips. But if you want to get these regular conversations going, my recommendation is you talk about wolves or zombies. So I've obviously taken something from The Walking Dead here, which is quite a popular Netflix show. But always when I start the conversation about this with a young person about why there are boundaries in place around them, I talk to them about the fact that it's not to limit them. We don't put fences up around playgrounds or around houses or anything like that to limit where we can go. No, we put the fences up to stop the bad things from coming in. It's about protecting them. So you can talk to them about we're putting them in this area. We've given a big wide paddock to roam in, or a big wide world to roam in, but we are putting some fences up. Not to limit their fun, but to protect them from the things out there that want to hurt them. Next tip is create a social media contract with your kids. So this is an example of one that's in our parent booklet, and you can access this again from our school website. That sets some agreed upon family values relating to screen time usage, which social media accounts are allowed, and consequences for breaches. And again, keep it consistent. Tip number 5, be their friend on social media, but their parent in real life. So 100% I recommend that if you know that they use Instagram, if you know they use Snapchat, that you create your own account and you friend them, okay? They are far less likely to post things online or accept people they don't know if you are also their friend. You can have a chat with them about it. I often say to people, how would you feel if grandma saw this post? You can talk to them about that. However, a note of caution. Some teenagers do get around it. They create 2 accounts. They have what they call their grandma account, so the good stuff, simple stuff, and they'll post on that once or twice a day. And then they'll have their real account, which they're on quite far more regularly, where they'll hide pictures, filter what you see, they'll have hidden folders on their phones, all those sorts of things. So just be aware of that. Number 6, really good thing I strongly recommend that you do this is get parental controls. So there are lots of different parental controls, and again in our booklet, which is on our school website, we have some information about some different parental control apps that you can use. I recommend either Bark or NetNanny are really useful. They can be for devices, apps, account settings, screen time, everything like that. Educate yourself on the different social media sites and what is available to you as a parent, and what parental controls you can use. Again, in our booklet for parents, there are some information there about how you can set up parental controls and for Snapchat, for TikTok. And make sure you just have a look at what's available to you. And again, if you put a parental control app on their device, talk to them about the fact that it's not to limit their fun, but it's just one of those fences you're putting up to help protect them. You would much rather have this app on there and protect them from a sexually explicit text message or photo that comes through that they don't want, rather than them getting it and then needing to support them afterwards. Another option you can do is explore some phone alternatives. This one over here, the Optus 4G Lite, is called a dumb phone. This has no Wi-Fi connectivity and cannot install apps. So if your young person says to you, I really need a phone, so for safety, when realistically what they want it for is apps and all the other stuff. But you can get them this Optus 4G Lite. Again, I'm not sponsored by Optus, anything like that. I'm just giving you an example of a phone. And the benefit of this is they can use it to text and call you, and that's it. Old school phones is what it's meant for. So it's not a smartphone. The other option is this one's called a safe phone. So you can Google some of the things called a safe phone. A safe phone is basically a smartphone, so it allows access to the apps, App Store, all that sort of stuff, but it comes with parental control already built onto it, so you don't have to purchase that other software. This Optus one, I think currently when I last looked, was about $49 or $59 at Woolworths. This phone here, was about $250 from Big W. So there's more information about that again in our parental booklet. So again, if you want to have a look at that, I recommend you do. And final tip I've got for you is don't be angry when they come to you when something has gone wrong. So be like the duck, cool, calm on the surface, even when below the surface you're paddling like crazy. So keep the conversation open between you and your child. You can be disappointed, you can be frustrated, you can be screaming. Just do it on the inside when your teen is talking to you. and then find a healthy way to vent it when you are not around. Okay, it's really important. If they come to you with an issue or a problem and you go ballistic, you go nuclear on them, it's far less likely they will come to you again when there's another issue. So my 3 key take-homes from this session. And again, thank you so much for sticking with me. I know that it's been 35 minutes now, but I really appreciate you taking the time to be caring about your son or daughter and their safety online. So my 3 key take-homes is keep yourself up to date, talk to your teen, and for yourself, get help from professionals if you need it. You're not on your own on this. And I don't mean necessarily going and seeing a psychologist or anything like that, but talking about getting information from people who are in the know on social media. You can contact the school. We've got wellbeing leaders here. We've got our year level managers, people who can help you out with knowing how to support your young child with staying safe online. Check out SAPOL. Check out the Law Society and the information they have. Okay, get help from professionals. Definitely sign up to National Online Safety. Do all these things, and yes, things will still go wrong, but at least you'll be much better prepared for it. So again, thank you so much for watching this video. If there's anything you would like more information on, please do not hesitate to contact us here at the school on 83778000, or you can email me directly. It's bill.stapleton884@schools.sa.edu.au. Thank you, and hope you help keep your child safe online.